3. Baseball trick shots. Wait.
Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're gonna talk about my most favorite tank at tier 8, aka the Yak Panther 2. I think a lot of you will be surprised that this tank was chosen simply because most of the time when I play tier 8 I play mostly premiums, and that's right, I mean there are premiums that I would rather play than this one. But for this series I decided to show you my favorite tech tree tanks because of course if we talk about premiums there are way better premiums than the actual Yak Panther 2, but even compared to premiums this tank is actually really competitive, and I'm gonna tell you why. The main thing about this tank is that it features two things that are extremely important to me: the mobility and the gun. You have a really huge alpha damage for tier 8 because you have around 440 and you reload in less than 10 seconds, which means your DPM is high as hell. And if you combine that with the fact that this tank can go up to 50 km per hour, it gives you one of the most deadly tanks at tier 8. But when you're playing with this tank, there is one rule to follow which will determine if you will do a good game or not. And it's simple, just hide the hull. With this tank you need to only show the part of your tank where the gun is mounted, because as you can see it's extremely armored and angled. The rest of the tank is literally paper. As well, you don't try to side scrape with this tank, you don't try to angle, because you're not made for that. The only part that is extremely armored about the Yak Panther 2 is the part where there is the gun. And I'm not talking about the gun mantlet, I'm talking about the whole extremely angled part. If you show this part only, you will bounce literally everything, tier 9 included, except maybe the Ori tier 2, which will probably penetrate with calibrated shell, but hey, it's not gonna happen a lot of times as nearly nobody's playing this tank. Now of course, even if it's a great tank to me, it has several issues. The main one being the gun depression. As you have a tank that is quite huge and your gun is mounted at the rear, you are blocked by the size of your tank in order for you to get some good gun depression. But hey, you can't have everything except if you pay for it, aka Annihilator. But with this tank, as soon as you master it, you can have more alpha damage and more damage per game than you would with a regular tier 10 tank. But there is another problem that is features on this tank, and this problem is your side armor. I know I already talked a little bit about it, but what I mean is your modules, due to the fact that your side armor is extremely weak, are getting wrecked really easily, because with this tank, as soon as you're on the side or the rear, if someone tries to shoot with HE and it has a little bit of more penetration than your average tier 8, he will completely wreck you, and one shot out of 2 is gonna destroy or damage your ammo rack. And we all know how frustrating it is when you have your ammo rack damaged or destroyed. I mean, when it's destroyed, the game is literally over, and when it's damaged, you multiply your reload by 2. That's why with this tank you're extremely sensitive to some tanks like the RU251 if they try to circle you, because with 100 HE penetration it's really simple for those tanks to just fuck you up. Now of course, due to your mobility, and just look at the mobility we have right now, due to this mobility you will not get circled that easily. The only problem is, and you have the same problem on nearly every tank in the game that is not turreted, the problem is when the tank is behind you, because when it's behind you there is literally nothing you can do to fight back. When those tanks are on the side, you can use the elements around your tank, for example here the rock, to try to block the guy and to make him be in front of your gun, you know. But when you're in an open space and they are behind you, just say goodbye to your tank. So make sure with the Yak Panther 2 not to be alone, and if you're alone, make sure not to get pushed or aim at the tracks. That's the best advice I can give you. Also, one thing to finish, the DHE alpha damage, which is incredible on this tank, but that's logic. I mean, you have 440 alpha damage, so of course when it comes to HE you can climb up to nearly 600 alpha, which is quite high considering the tank has 9.3 seconds of reload. This video is now over simply because we managed to win. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me in the comments what is your favorite tier 8 tech tree tank. I want to insist on the tech tree part because I'm not interested in premiums. This video goal is to show you some tanks you could have fun with and not tanks that are completely broken like the premiums are. Feel free to subscribe, like and share, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. See ya guys.